Welcome to another Kingscrusher Banter Blitz on Chess 24. The time is 12:30 p.m. UK time, so this is during the day. Let's see. I just want to make sure my preview is not going to echo. I'll mute that over there. Hope the screen's okay and everything. Let's have a look at the challenges. So we start with Seb 1996 today. Let's kick off with e4. I could try King's Gambit, but I guess because it's the first game, I will be adventurous in the openings, but not yet. I think I want to play the Grob and the Crab today. Just remind me. I'll be a little bit adventurous, but the first game, let's tread with a bit of caution with this Magnus Carlsen-esque system d3. I want to avoid the more theoretical lines. Now, my bishop is subject to knight a5 potentially when this pawn is protected. So that's why I think either a3 or c3 as soon as this pawn's protected. Because then knight a5. So it's pretty classical stuff so far. Let's pin this knight. Because that bishop's out there, sort of arcangulist setup. His bishop's quite aggressive. The pin can be annoying. G5, I don't know about the knight sec. It might be tempting, but I think there's things like king g7. And f4 is delayed because of this pin. So basically, I'm not sure. Let's have a look. My bishop might be a prisoner now. On takes g5, bishop g3. The plus side of that, though, the light squares are slightly compromised if black plays g5. So, for example, bishop takes, queen takes, g5. Alright, he hasn't done that. That's interesting. g5, I'm still thinking the knight g5 needs to be considered. You can imagine, though, king g7, rook h8. I don't want to be too controversial in the first game, because I think king g7, rook h8, I'm not really convinced with this pawn pinned. Let's see if I can exploit the light squares a bit. d4 as a pawn sack is interesting to consider as well, just from the view of forcing moves, but I don't think it does anything. Alright, let's put the bishop here. I'm hoping these light squares. I think knight takes e5 there was something. Okay, d4 here. Or bishop c2, maybe just bishop c2. I don't think taking the knight, because g takes, I don't think that looks exceptionally good, but then on the other hand, g4 looks dangerous. I'm going to go with bishop c2 for a moment. g4 does look dangerous. Alright, I'm going to try and get my knight to f5. So knight f1 to e3. Well, maybe d5 as well. Actually, the other point is of knight f1 that d4 becomes possible. Now, d4 might be useful. Unless I'm getting hacked. I mean, I could be getting hacked to death here. You never know. But at least I've unpinned the pawn. Okay, can I try and neutralize this bishop before this sort of sack happens on h3? Because the other knight ready to plunge into f4 doesn't bode well. I think if I can play knight f5, I'm improving my king safety somewhat. Because then h3 is not such a liability, I would hope. And if he took, I'm extending the scope of this bishop. I'm wondering also king h1 with the idea of g3, but then knight takes h3, and even if king g2, then there's knight f4 check again, which looks dangerous. I'm thinking this is good defensively anyway, knight f5 here, with that bishop there. d5 might be tempting, or just taking here and then knight f5. That does give the h file though. Do I want another attacking stuff? It gives the g5 though, so maybe I'm going to take the risk. g5 is slightly compromised. He doesn't really want to take here, surely, because knight takes g5 after. Well, knight takes g5. Actually, I'm protecting h3, which means takes and g3 is better than before. Yeah, I will do that because I'm holding h3 here. In which case, if the knight moves, then queen h5, pounce in the queen h5, threatening queen h7. This looks very good indeed. I seem to have moved from a defensive posture to an attacking one in the last few moves. Oh, thanks for the game, Sebi. Kramnik students. I had some thoughts. Do I know his openings? I know he's good with white against the King's Indian, like Kramnik is. Let's gambit this pawn, I guess. Is he going to take it? Now, if he's not taking it, well, play for e4. b3, bishop b2. Now, I'm hoping f5 is going to be weakened at some point. Rook e1, knight f5 is threatened. Let's try and win this bishop, will damage the pawn structure. Knight f5 here is the threat. I would say that needs to be parried. Has he missed that here? If queen d8, okay, he's holding there. If queen there, knight h6. If queen d8, rook d1, so I think he's probably missed this. I don't think bishop f2 doesn't even mean queen f2. This looks good simply for the f6 knight. So knight takes h6 and bishop takes f6 is on the cards here. It seems as though I haven't done anything, but seem to have an advantage. This bishop seems to be problematic anyway, even if it wasn't. I don't know what's happened here. Something's been misplayed for this position. It seems knight takes h6 and bishop f6. On queen d8, rook a d1 kicks the queen off the d file, which is protecting f6. So the queen moves, knight takes h6. Oh, there's queen b6, but again, you know, f2's held for a moment. So I do wonder, this looks pretty devastating, knight takes and bishop takes f6. I could slip in bishop e5 if that helps. I think this is sufficient. Bishop f6 instead, I mean, why not just knight takes h6? Or is there king h8? Am I in trouble? King h8? He's not really threatening anything on king h8. If he takes, then there's bishop takes f6. Alright, how to do this? Rook e5 takes, rook h5, king g7. h3 to give knight g4 just in case, maybe. Just for a moment. I just want to work out that my knight isn't trapped. Oh, there's queen g3. Oh, queen g3. It's queen g3. Oh, God. Let's get the queen off this diagonal, because there's queen g3. There was queen g3 there. Yeah, h3 has a flaw. This actually gives queen c3 anyway. It's actually useful for queen c3. So why not? I think. There's a knight g4. If takes bishop g7. So I've justified h3, but yeah, it had a fatal flaw to it, h3. Yeah, but it's actually providing good support now for this knight g4. And so it's worked out well, but maybe shouldn't have, the h3 move. That's the sort of chaos in Blitz. That happens. Okay, I'm winning a second pawn here. Now if I can swing a rook in, then I think it's decisive. So takes bishop f6. This is swinging a rook in time. I mean, it's going to be slaughter time on this occasion. Kramnik student is a very, very good player, and I think has beaten me once or twice before. So I'm happy to get the fortunate position I did out of the opening. Let's have rook d4. Now check king g1. I think the rook swing across. Rook g7. Thank you, Kramnik student. I was fortunate, basically, out of the opening. Harry. Okay, Harry. Harry the H pawn, as Simon Williams has sometimes mentioned. Simon Williams and me share, fortunately or unfortunately, the same playing style, but he's obviously a GM. But I have beaten him a few times on some other sites, on 5-minute. But we have the same playing style. I adore his opening repertoire, actually, and his style of play. I totally adore it, that sort of attacking spirit. And he talks about Harry the H pawn quite a bit. It's quite funny to name pawns. Like H pawn for Harry, and was that, I don't know, A pawn, was it Albert? Does anyone know? Albert? B for Bertie? I don't know anyway. I don't know all the names of the pawns, but H for Harry. Okay, is he around? Hi there, your move. Is Harry around? Okay, Harry can challenge later, I think. Oh, Harry's here, just in time. I'll play King's Engine, because I'm not playing Kramnik student, who usually blows away my King's Engine. I'm playing someone who might not totally dismantle my King's Engine defense. I'm hoping the classical method. Oh, the bayonet attack, the dreaded bayonet attack. Now, bayonets, that's named after these bayonets. These are, I think, what are they? Bayonets. I used to know what they were. Does anyone know on stream, and I can relay what they are? They are, I think they're used in the Second World War, bayonets. Or was it the First World War? I think they're with sword element to them. Anyway. Oh, A pawn is for Harry, B for Barry, C for Charlie, D for Derek, E for Eddie, F for Freddie, G for Gary, and H for Harry. Well, thank you, Chess Chipmunk, for that survey, that detail. I have to remember that for my own Blitz commentaries. All this. Anyway, so yeah. All right, let's close up here. Actually, can I not take on e4? There's queen d3, there's bishop f5. Queen d3 or queen c2, bishop f5. Am I getting blasted there? Is there some tactic which kills me? I'm just wondering. Knight takes f4? I don't know. I'm going to risk it. The bishop is protected by the rook, which is good news. There's almost knight d2. Is almost h5 g4. I think I'll take for e4 here. Mind you, it's pinned, so g4 it is. Let's try and squeeze over here. Although I should be worried about two rooks coming to c7 soon. Let's open up the bishop anyway. Okay, I'll take that one. And let's push on. There's e2 here, isn't there? Well, I can just take a bishop c2 check, or maybe bishop d3 is stronger. Bishop c2. Let's calculate this then till mate, as Igor Smirnov would say. Bishop c2, king g1. Oh, there's bishop d3 and queen e3. I just need to interruption tactic here. Bishop d3 interrupting. King moves, queen takes e3. Thanks for the game, Harry. Now, Aldisto, who basically won on the board last week, and I grovelled to draw on time, which some YouTube control freak decided to have a go at me about that. I did feel a little bit bad at the time, but I thought the whole session as a whole, the 2 hours last week, was pretty good fun. But I just still gave me that fear. I mean, I think I was better before I blundered. Let's hope I don't have to resort to a time grovel draw. It was a bit naughty of me, I must admit. So will it be a time grovel draw? Can I actually win on the position this week? Maybe. Okay, we have a similar position to before, and I'm wondering about this e-file again and the f5 square again. If I just fianchetto the bishop, it looks as though, you know, if black's going to play c5, then I'm going to hop into f5, like the previous template game, because I can afford to leave this, because the diagonal is quite strong with this fianchetto structure. So if I can afford to play knight d4, then this is serious stuff. Bishop b2, rook e1 with knight f5. That's serious concern. Now, would he take? Well, I'm pre-moving bishop f3 here. I should have maybe considered d5 soon. I'm wondering if he's. I was pre-moving that because I'm thinking he doesn't want to run into d5. I could double the pawns, but I don't know if that does anything. If I lose my bishop, it's a lovely bishop to lose. So DC, bishop c5, I'm not sure this is convincing. I can play knight g5 threatening, bishop f6 and queen h7, and h6, bishop f6, if hg, bishop g5. I'm more tempted to do that in that position. So DC, bishop c5, knight g5. How does black respond? There's no g6 because of bishop f6. How does black respond? Bishop g2, bishop f6. I'm wondering how black responds. So I'm going to play this cheap move. I don't know how black responds. The threat is simply bishop f6 and queen h7, which I did win on Thursday in some blitz tournament somewhere else with this tactic, which had been hysterics after. I know, I couldn't help it. I'd lost to about 3 engine abusers by that time in this online tournament on somewhere else, and I was actually in hysterics and actually beating someone higher rated than any of the people I'd lost to. And I saw they were engine abusers because I had these rating refunds during the tournament, free rating refunds. I eventually won this tournament with a 24-40 performance. I was very happy, but I was in hysterics with this one game where I had bishop f6 and queen h7. But you know, it's not that easy. I don't see how black actually parries this bishop f6 and queen h7. How does black actually parry this? I'm threatening mate now. Yeah, isn't he just losing a pawn? Unless I've run into a tactic. There is a loose piece here on g5. So before I commit to this, let's check. Takes, takes, takes. Is there a tactic? I don't see it. I don't see how I'm losing the bishop. If I can't see how I'm losing the bishop, I'm going to take this. It's only a pawn. He has sorted out his c8 bishop. It's not the end of the world, I guess. If he does give me this bishop exchange, I will have a rook left via e4, which could be handy. Let's see, bishop takes g2, king takes g2. There is a loose piece. I don't think bishop f2 is working. Queen takes f2. I know I've got a loose piece liability, and it's something to be avoided in Blitz, loose piece liabilities, because they do tend to drop off. There was John Nunn's quotation, you know, loose pieces tend to drop off. I have a confession. I was watching by force the Gilmore Girls. It's something I recommend for relaxation, and I was forced to watch it from my girlfriend. Unfortunately, I was forced to watch it because she couldn't stand Breaking Bad, which does have high reviews, like 9.5. If you want to watch something on Netflix, but if you want to watch something with your girlfriend, you know, check out Gilmore Girls, yeah, or wife or whatever. Gilmore Girls is not too bad. So bishop takes, on that note, bishop takes rook e5, queen d4, rook a d1, rook a e1. Hang on, rook a e1. Do I actually need to do that? What I'm concerned with, there is a concern here, this d file or queen f3. There's a few concerns here that my pawn is not worth too much. Okay, I'm going to defend my second rank. I don't think my pawn's worth much. Yeah, it's not worth much. Not for the foreseeable future. Maybe queen e3. I'm in a defensive posture. I don't like it. Oh, there's rook d3 winning a pawn back. Uh-oh. Now things get bad. Now things breaking bad. Things are bad now. I did not see this happening. My structure's been crushed on the queen side. Okay, I can play c5 to protect a4, and there's rook d4. Not amusing. Not amusing, I gotta say. Can I try something over here, or is there rook g3? I'm going to try something over here because he is missing a kingside pawn. Not amused. Take on a5. I'm afraid this is going to be a pattern of our games. He's a bit shorter on time than me, so I'm not grovelling for dear life here, but I'm clearly grovelling for a draw now. Queen g5, h5, h6, 30 seconds to my 1 minute 54. And if I play takes king g2, it's getting pretty scary. He's got rook d1 coming. Rook e1, rook e1, rook d1. What am I grovelling for? Do I get h6 and queen f6? Nope, didn't see that move either. So h5 is dropping, huh? There's not even a check on e8. Queen e3, queen f4. Oh, crikey. Okay, alright, queen e2 is threatened. There's a check here. Can Can I use that pin or not really? Yes, it's the pattern of our games. Yeah, I think on a higher time control, I'm going to be in serious trouble against all this. Though he's saying everything, but he's a bit slow with it sometimes. So I'm just taking what I can get from the game. Well played, well played, well played. Which is time pressure, but it is blitz. It is blitz. Okay, very good, very good. On the run again. I was on the run. Okay, yeah, I didn't see my queen side being dismantled. That was brilliant. To get b3, weakened a4 and c4 was brilliant. So it didn't matter about me winning a pawn earlier. That really got black the advantage after. Is it a slight liability this knight? I know it's aggressive, and Tartko has got this famous quotation, knight on e5 or e4, the attack will play itself, he said, I believe. Now, I have got the bishop pair, and I'm wondering if knight e1 and f3 is any good. Or do I get mated or something? If I play knight e1 for f3, it's... he can take care if he wants. So f3 would blunt the bishop a little bit. Maybe the bishop should be here to control the e5 break. So actually it's pointless on this diagonal. I've actually fed the bishop, the rook onto a good square to support e5. So I'm thinking f3, knight g5, bishop. Bishop b2 is not influencing e5 anyway. Okay, I can leave this bishop on this diagonal. Well, let's see. What am I doing with these bishops then? Well, this one in particular, there's no counterpart bishop. But I don't know what I'm doing with it. He could be helping me with this. You never know, because this diagonal could liven up. Say bishop b2, ready for that diagonal. ed gives a frontal attack against the e4 later. Immediate rook c8, if c4, queen d4 is very unpleasant. So maybe cd's structurally sounder. Yeah. Let's imagine rook c8, queen b2. Nice control of e4, gotta say. Okay, so queen b2 here. Just getting out of the way for a moment. f3, knight c3, bishop b4. There's always knight d5, bishop d2. That might be a good thing for e4 later. Well, the d4's... So f3, knight c3, bishop b4, knight d5, hitting a3, bishop d2 might be okay for me. These bishops have... Okay, I'll block this diagonal as well, not just protecting g2 with queen, knight, also barricading. So knight c3, bishop b4 actually wins that knight nearly. There's queen c6, rook c1, that's a nasty pin. So knight, let's imagine knight g5. Oh. a4 is hanging. But so bishop b4 is the move here, I believe. It ticks that box, it protects a4. There's no killer check or anything, is there? problem with these aggressive knights, sometimes they are tactical liabilities in their own right. I'm video annotating a Magnus Carlsen game recently where he, was it against Wesley So or something? No, it might be in the Chinese prodigy, where there was a loose knight on e4. Now bishop f3 is not even threatened, but this pawn, oh, that wins the bishop on. No, it doesn't. The bishop's held by the knight, so I'm wondering if just king h1. Yeah, I can't see the follow-up for black, so I'll play this. King h1. Actually, bishop d2 threatens to win the queen. Play bishop d2 anyway. Oh, that's fascinating. a5, because I like the structure here. It's blunting the bishop. There's no knight g4. I don't want to play f4 if knight g4 is not even a threat, I hope. So a5, just keep things intact over here and play on this side for a moment. It extends the rook anyway. Yeah, I think defensively it's okay against this bishop, and as long as there's no knight g4, the rooks are not swinging. Seems as though my king safety is okay at the moment. Can I take on b6? Now the entry points for the rook are limited. Can I take on b6? I might go to d6 and g3, or even e5 after. So rook, okay. Definitely not g4 because there's queen g4. There is queen d6 as mentioned before, and if g4, queen g3. Right, so queen g3, the queen helps the defense. Now, fg hits the knight with the rook. Knight g4. h3. What does bishop e2 there? And if I play rook f4 here, there's f5. If I take and then queen e5, just get the queens off. Because g2 is not hanging yet. Now, rook g3 will threaten rook h3, but I'll play king h2 now against rook h3. Right. I think this rook. Try and keep abreast on the clock. Taking an e6 looks good for bishop e5, I'm thinking. Protect both pieces. Knight f3. Alright, thanks for the game, Moby. Got a bit scary over there. Ooh. This is a 3-minute game. Faster pace. So Morezzo 1985. If it was 1984, it would be George Orwell, wouldn't it? 1984. Has anyone read that on stream? The Orwellian world, a reduced dictionary, so people had restricted thoughts. Or did they? If you reduce the dictionary, do you restrict people's thoughts? Feedback welcome on stream. Anyone read 1984? So Morezzo 1985. Now, that looks like a minion from Despicable Me, the avatar. I could try and zoom it. Is it a minion reading a book? Now, Despicable Me and Despicable Me 2 are arguably two of the greatest cartoons ever, animated films ever. I recommend you watch them. They're not just kids' films. I think they have very good moral values associated with them. So Despicable Me and Despicable Me 2, yes, highly recommended. Check out the Minions, they're funny. Okay, am I going to have to abort this? Oh, okay. Yeah, let's abort it, I think. It's been a while. Okay. Fenneman. Hi there. I fancy a French defence sometimes. I can't help it. I'm sorry. The exchange variation, I used to add spice to it by this weird fianchetto. I'm hoping it will add spice here. Swap off these light square bishops, try and weaken the key light squares like e4 and c4. And the usual plan is Tartako's knight on e4 plan. You stick a knight on e4 and the attack plays itself according to Tartako, right? Just unpin here. You stick a knight on e4, f5, g5, g4 after. Okay, I'm trying to weaken these light squares. That's the only thing I'm doing at the moment. I don't enjoy usually playing that much against the exchange French. Keep that top secret, please. That in the London system, I think these secrets are used against me. The frequency of London system games has increased this year. No, I think the exchange French has always been a favourite for many players, avoiding many of the tortures that the French defence offers. I've got Tartako's knight on e4 now, so the attack should play itself, right? I weaken those light squares in advance. So does the attack play itself? King h7, g5. King h7, g5. Do I need anything more for the attack to work? I don't like, in principle, the queen staring at the king here. Whether that becomes an actual reality of concern, maybe it does. If I play rook e7, rook f8, then I can double on the f file, make f2 a target. if f2 is a target, and put the knight somewhere. Now bring the knight into the attack. Knight e6. I guess knight e5 could be a pain. What else is going on here out of interest? Actually, couldn't I have just taken that knight? Oh. I wonder, was that knight just hanging on g4? Let me see. Was the knight hanging on g4? I believe, you know, it might have been hanging on g4, and I didn't take it. Yes. Interesting. Okay. Okay, what is my next amazing move? Okay, for this game. I'm pretty sure the knight was hanging. Alright. Missed opportunity, which would have ended the game. Anyway. Oh, okay. Knight f4 is possible here for queen g4. Sometimes I'm thinking positional like ideas, which are really, I'm thinking really clever, and there's something that becomes an opportunity instead, which is just winning, and I don't spot it. There's rook takes f2. I've spotted this tactic, because if takes, I take the queen, right? So rook takes f2. I'm trying to redeem myself tactically. If I could find... Actually, that doesn't redeem myself tactically, because, in fact, there's a mate in 2 here with queen h3 king, queen g2, which I've noticed as well. Thanks for the game, Phenomen. Do I dare play the King's Indian defense? It was good enough for Kasparov and Fischer, 2 legends of the game. So, is it good enough for me in the Blitz game? It will have to be. I've played it. That was why I played the King's Indian, because of Kasparov and Fischer. But nowadays, the Super GMs like the Grunfelds and the Slavs, I think it's all Kramnik's fault, basically. I blame Kramnik for everything that has gone wrong in chess. Yeah, Kramnik. It's all Kramnik's fault. You know, there used to be the era of the King's Indian. No, I'm just kidding. No, Kramnik's really good. I'm just kidding. Just kidding around. I think it is fundamentally unsound in some respects. You don't see correspondence players playing the King's Indian defense that much, I believe, statistically. I think statistically, I suspect that Grunfelds and Slavs at the correspondence level, especially when computers are allowed in ICCF, like official correspondence, I think some of these openings are pretty dodgy in correspondence that you might play in Blitz or over the board. Actually, because you're giving up a lot of space, basically, in the King's Indian, as Kramnik says, you're fundamentally giving up the centre. So, if you think in that's fundamentally a bit of a downside. Now here he's kind of blocked his attack, and that's good news for the coziness of my king here. My king feels a bit cozy. Like a cozy teapot with one of those frilly bits on the teapot. I don't know if you've got one of those at home. Okay, so f3. That's yes. All right. So I guess I can play bishop h7. Sorry, h8, knight g7, and f5. Oh yeah, there was also the. He didn't apologise. You're right. Berlin Wall. Yeah, all of these systems which spectators hate, it's all Kramnik's fault. Sorry, I'm just kidding around. Just kidding around. It's not all Kramnik's fault. A lot of it is Kramnik's fault, though. No, seriously, a lot of it is Kramnik's fault. I've got a terrible bishop on f6 here. I'm being murdered, aren't I, positionally? If we have another World Chess Championship with Berlin Walls, I don't know. I'm going to have to get a joke book. If I'm doing commentary, I'll get a joke book and just read out jokes from it instead of following the game. Yeah. Okay, so knight e4, knight g7. That's if the organisers in 2 years' time don't try and make it top secret World Chess Championship where no one can even have the moves. Assuming they don't want to make it like top secret, yeah, because there's so much excitement in the World Chess Championship games generally. Not. So anyway, I'm getting done over here. Yeah, I'm still getting done over here, it seems. But let's try and not lose the bishop. Knight d7. b6. Set up a fortress and win on time. It seems to be the plan here. Knight d7, b6. Set up the old fortress and win on time. I think I want to get rid of his. I'm worried about f6 mating me on h7 actually. f6 would mate me on f7 potentially. h7. I'm not sure about this actually. Moving that bishop. Is my king safety guaranteed on f6? Knight f6, knight f6, bishop f6, bishop moves with queen d3 in mind. How on earth would I stop queen h7 mate? That's an intriguing mystery there. Yeah. This diagonal is potentially lethal. Lethal weapon. This diagonal. Okay, for the moment the bishop remains blocking this f-pawn. This is my concern tactically about this position. This diagonal. h7. Where does my king want to be? Let's put the king on g8 with king h7, rook h8, king g8, knight e8, bishop moves, then knight f6 without getting mated on h7. Could be the plan for the next few moves. In the meantime, let's take here, take here. Now this has changed things big time. I'm not moving the bishop just yet. Although rook c7 threatens rook d7, knight f6. Oh, there's knight e8 there. Okay. CD, rook c7 with the threat of rook d7. I think I've got knight e8 just about. So rook d7, queen takes. I can always take with this knight. It also hits c7. Okay, knight e8 is fortunate. He's getting ready to make me on h7, clearly. But they need to swap around. The bishop and queen need to swap around. So do I get time for bishop g7 and knight f6? And live to tell the tale? I hope so. Alright, thanks. Thanks for the game, Kaz. Azul missed. Okay. Let's try an Alekhine defense for a bit of variety. Provocation. Now it was used by Fischer in the 1972 match with a successful game, at least one successful game. And there's a player called Tom Vidas at Muswell Hill Chess Club who's having a phenomenal season. He's over 200 already, but he's having and he plays the Alekhine defense. So, in tribute to Tom, I'm playing the Alekhine defense here. I think you can get a good position quite easily sometimes in the Alekhine defense. Now, why isn't knight d4 possible? Because takes, bishop takes. Isn't there, for example, bishop takes c3? And if takes, I don't think that's too dangerous. So why can't I take this? I'm wondering. It's a centre pawn. Taking out a centre pawn is more important than taking out a non-centre pawn because of central control implications. But my king is feeling a bit colder now. My king's feeling the cold. Okay. Let's stop the evil h5 move for a moment. I think I can hear bird mating calls outside today. So d5, knight g5, e5 for e4. e5, is there something like, is there some horrible tactic waiting for me here? Like knight f7, bishop g6. I can't see it immediately. This diagonal is a bit scary, this check diagonal. So e4, queen c3, there's d4. Can I play e4 and live to tell the tale? Check d4. Maybe even queen f6 might be considered. Oh, that loses the exchange to knight h7 check. If ever check here takes, knight h7 wins the exchange. Queen f6 immediately doesn't lose d5. The knight's doing something at least on b6. But it runs into f3, peeling open that f file. Yeah. f5. Queen c3, d4. Or even queen f6 there. Because if it takes, there's rook f6. So f5 looks promising. But I've given a massive knight on g5 now. Slight downside. Can I play this? Maybe bishop e6 and rook a d8. So bishop g8. Try and cope with this knight defensively. Bishop g8. What about actually just f4? Why isn't f4 any good? f4. Intriguing. I might not be threatening anything. What if I just did this for a moment? Actually, you know, f4 would have been worth it just to stop queen f4. Too late now. Oh well. Let's get this bishop out of the firing line of the knight. Oh, I see. The knight's going to be dislodged. D4, knight d5, queen e5. I take knight f4. What about just knight c4 instead? He takes. I get the d3 square. Take. Yeah, knight c4. There's a check there. Oh, crikey, that's nearly winning that check. Oh, crikey, this check. It was bishop f7, but even so, shouldn't have allowed that. Alright, I kick this so I can use the d7 square, rook d7, I think. So a6, bishop moves, rook d7, rook f d8. Yeah. Let's protect this pawn as well from the glare of the queen. Let's play f4 now. Let's protect c7. Oh, the queen's hanging there. Thanks for the game, Azor. Missed. Colin Cone. I did say I'd play some funny openings today. I haven't played that many funny openings apart from the King's Engine, which is not that funny. Sorry, I'll try and play a funny opening if you want. Just say. Does anyone want the crab or something in the next game, or the grob? If you want to vote now, just type crab or grob, or shout something else out. As long as it's not too losing for me, I mean, instantly. Just tell me if you want me to play a funny opening for the next game. I'll take requests. I'm going to do a Greek gift soon with h4, bishop h7, knight g5 in this position, because I can't help it. It's genetics. It's my genetic makeup to play stuff like this. It's, you know, bishop. It's Greek anyway. It's Greek, literally Greek, isn't it? It's the Greek gift. I'm Greek. It's in my genetic makeup. I'm half Greek. I'm not just half Greek. Sorry. Both my parents are from Cyprus. I'm Greek. I'm Greek origin. Yeah. So Greek gift for Greek origin. Yeah. I'm wondering, you know, the forceful clinical continuation here will be rook h8. So king g8, rook h8, king takes. Because if here, queen h5 looks dangerous. Oh, mind you, there's g6. Oh, check. Queen g6 is mating. So rook h8, queen h5, g6. There's not too many defensive ideas in that position. Like knight f6, I think I just take, and if takes, check, and then mate. So, you know, the clinical one seems to be rook h8. And I was trying to get one of my students, I did a coaching lesson before the session, trying to find all these clinical continuations where, like, the move, one of them was in the puzzles was rook h8. So in tribute to that, I'll play this, and hoping it doesn't lose, basically. There might be bishop h4 check, as long as there's no defense after bishop h4 check. So I'm hoping knight f6, I just take, and if rook f6 check, and mate with queen h8. Bishop h4, king f1. Rook e8, check. Oh no, I just noticed something. The e7 square is given to the king. Oh, that's amusing, isn't it? Okay, let's see. Check. King f1, rook e8, check. King f8, queen h8, king e7. There's still queen g7. Isn't that mate? Because black's pieces seem to be conspiring against their own king to not give any escape squares. Alright, thanks for the game, Colin. Chess Chipmunk. Okay, it was f4. Let's play f4. There's a request for f4. You can tell me knight h3 if you want, knight a3 if you want. I want to make this a bit entertaining as well, if I can, without losing every single game. Okay, so there is actually someone called Witzman in my leagues who plays this regularly, because he plays the Dutch Leningrad with black and he plays this with white. It's essentially a Dutch Leningrad, this, which I have played with black as well. Now in reverse, you'd play like this in reverse. I've played this literally in reverse, even with the double pawns. I played the whole thing in reverse, so I've got an extra tempo on this thing. Dutch Leningrad in reverse. I'm waiting for e5 for f5. That would be nice. Let's get the king off this diagonal. Often in reverse, you know, the moves like that. Why does it seem not safe to play f5 in this position? This is what I do in reverse. So I'm gonna put my mouth where my I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to play f5. I think the idea is not to take, but knight h4. I've played this in the British Chess Championship. I played in the main British Chess Championship twice, by the way. And I did have a nice Leningrad Dutch win with this pawn sack in reverse. And the idea is knight h4 to f5. Oh no! That was the idea, and I seem to have pre-moved the wrong thing, like a complete moron. Oh, great. I've just pre-moved entirely the wrong thing. This allows bishop f5 g6. What a muppet. I'm going to say that. What a muppet. On the other hand, bishop f5, there might be knight e5 for rook f5. Muppets. I've conspired to ruin my whole opening. With one bad move here. There's bishop c2. I don't know, knight c6. Bishop d1, knight d8. Bishop e2 is not that funny after that, is it? I might have to play queen c2 if knight e5, queen c5. I didn't want this position. I didn't want this position, I swear. I wanted knight h4 to get the f5 square. If takes bishop e4, I had a view on h7, it would have been good. I'm sorry. This is not what I wanted, but anyway, oh well. There still might be some light square implication here. You never know. Okay. I can take on c6 anyway. It's not the end of the world. e4 might be good in the circumstances. Bishop h3, queen h5. I've still got a grip on f5 there. It's not the end of the world for my light square campaign. It's not what I wanted, though. Maybe there's rook f4, bishop d2, and double the rooks. It's still coordinated on f7. Let's not be totally miserable about it. There's still the option of rook h4. I have fragmented the pawns. There is double pawns over here. There's reasons to be cheerful. Bishop d2, rook a f1. For example, get some coordination on f7. I can also consider queen takes c5 immediately to nick a pawn. Maybe queen d1 here in circumstance isn't too terrible. b3, queen c3, bishop d2. There was an early YouTuber, Grandmaster, who specialised in this. He called it the polar bear. What was his name? Anyone know, for 500 points? Who was that YouTuber who played the polar bear? And he won against Super GMs in the Iceland Open as well later. Crikey, that's not very nice. Rook e2 check. King h3. It's not what I wanted. I gotta say, what is this? Okay, queen c8, I take the rook after. Queen e2, I take. That was d3 at the end of that. Can I play queen e1 here to try and hold things together? He's always got d3 as well, hitting the rook. Maybe there's c3 there. Alright, let's imagine queen e1. F takes, rook takes, queen takes. I don't see myself getting mated, so I'll play this. On d3, I think there's c3. So f takes, rook takes. Who was that guy on YouTube that used to, this GM that used to play the polar bear? That's the quiz question. Alright, I'll sack the exchange to try and get things under control here. If I want to play h3, what does it give me? Does h3 give me anything? Henrik Danielson, yes, 500 points. So as I missed. h3, does it give me anything? Or do I just take? I think h3. Maybe b4. Am I asking for trouble? If I keep a fortress for a few more moves, does he sack the exchange? Do I wait for his exchange sack? a3, b4? Safer maybe? I'll just give myself a backward pawn. I got to say well done to myself. That was really needed, to give myself a backward pawn. Yes, let's just defend like mad now. And there would have been bishop d2. And this guy's giving me a really hard time. What have I done to him? Oh, there's d3 here. Oh my god. I want to go for this a5 when he's not looking. With bishop d2. To do that, there's going to be some achievement. Really? Oh, crikey. And I'm in a lost position. Okay, yeah, well played, Chess Chipmunk. What did I do to you? You've been plotting this assassination. You've been training with puzzles or something. What have I done to you? You ruined my Leningrad Dutch. That was a tragedy. I already had one tragedy about this, which I want to emphasise. Right, you know, I would have had good memories for my British Championship win here if I just played Knight H4. In reverse, yeah, this can be allowed because I get the F5 square. No, this doesn't look right, actually, because H4, this doesn't look right either. F4 looks... Why does this look much stronger in reverse? There should be a tempo up. I don't know, it doesn't look right either. Oh, crikey. Oh, well. Well played. Okay. Don G. It doesn't seem to be that good, regular call. I don't know, F4, it doesn't look right. There's something not right about it. E-takes was the best move. I'm starting to think it was. Let's get out of the firing line. So have any of you seen the Gilmore Girls? Admit it. Have any of you seen the Gilmore Girls? Huh? On Netflix. It's a good series. It's got an 8. It's got an over 8 rating on IMDb, so it must be good. Yeah. I know Breaking Bad's 9.5 though. Tell me your favourite Netflix series, please. I need some recommendations. Can I exchange off this bishop? Queen d2, bishop e4. This is a theme, isn't it? To get rid of the dark square bishop. Because then the dark squares are a bit weaker. If I can get rid of this bishop. Botvinnik's done it from a3. There's a Botvinnik system with, you know, bishop a3 earlier. With the knight still on b1, you play bishop a3, you swap off the bishops. Can I do this? Because that's also a defender of the dark squares. The queen. No Netflix recommendations? No one has Netflix? You're all playing chess during the week, are you? Oh, well. Okay, can I play rook h1, knight f4? Just try and hold up g5. I'm going to try and pin this down a bit. So I get knight f4. Okay. There's g5. There is still g5 there. Okay, c5. I think Sparf has sometimes played b4, b5 and just... Well, there's a minority attack here, isn't there? a4, rook b1, double, b5. I think I've seen Kasparov play like that against Nigel Short in one of the big tournaments of the past. Not Tilburg. Tilburg was dominated by I think the Tilburg series was dominated by Karpov. The Linares series was dominated by Kasparov. And there was a game Kasparov against Short in a Dutch stone wall where I think this plan happened with a minority attack, some sort of c5, and then this sort of plan a4, b5, I think. I think it's a pretty logical plan. a4, b5, it looks like a big, gigantic Bronstein, not Bronstein, Botvinnik sort of thing. That's the sort of thing Botvinnik would do. Iron Fist logic. b5. Alvin and the Chipmunks on Netflix. Planet Earth. Okay, thank you. This is a Botvinnik game feel to it, you know, the iron logic logician, you know he's called that because he has this iron grip on positions, big strategic positions. But he played the Dutch stonewall and stuff himself as well, Botvinnik. Okay, so rook a7, rook b to b7. That's double rooks on the 7th rank. I'm going to double rooks on the 7th rank. Botvinnik will be proud, I think. Stranger Things. What are these IMDb ratings like? I'm making Botvinnik proud with this game, I think. Knight b4 looks good. Knight a6, or just the torture on c6 makes it worth it. Or just knight e5. Doesn't black collapse after knight e5? Because if it takes, I take there. It's not that convincing, I suppose. Takes. Yeah, knight f7 protects against rook h8. I guess it's not that convincing. This bishop could be on a4 torturing c6, couldn't it? So let's start with c6. If e5, e3, and the thing is with bishop f1, there's always a check round here, but then he's got to sort out this 2nd rank. So I'm wondering if I have the leisure of moving the bishop to a4. Black's not exactly doing too much. Oh, well, c6 is hanging now. Thanks, Don. Okay, so 4RS Mets 4L, lovely nickname. Does that mean something? Probably means something. I have no idea what. Stranger Things was very good. I recommend that. So that's a Netflix, is it? First 4 seasons of Doctor House. House of Cards. Everyone praises House of Cards, but I do not watch it. Okay, cool. Knight takes c6 was possible because of the mate threat, rook a8. Wow. Alright, is this guy ready? Or am I going to drink some more coffee? Okay, let's abort. Go on to the next challenge without further ado. Danny SHK. It's a bit of a gambit. I might take here. Botvinnik would be proud, I think. I think he has taken on d5 before. I seem to remember this line from Batsford Chess Openings. Something about this, check and 95. Problem with Batsford Chess Openings, there's a few problems. It didn't really explain much. Okay, let's put the bishop back to d3. Actually, I'm not even sure Kasparov had much of an involvement with it, apparently. Does anyone know about that? I don't think he had much involvement in it. Okay. Is knight e5? What's my queen doing there? I'm a bit stuck for what to do. Should I let him take so I have this g file in case he castles? He's not taking on f3. I'll give him another opportunity to take on f3. No. No. And yet another one. Come on, you know you want to take on f3 now. That gives me king h1, rook g1. If I'm not getting mated, that might be good. Come on, take on f3. You know you want to. No? Okay, don't then. Knight b6 might be a pain. c4. Oh, come on. Not taking on f3. Ah. Ready for a pre-move with queen d3. Maybe knight e5. I didn't want this knight c4, but I'm wondering knight e5 now. If I get that dark square bishop, it might compensate for my double pawns. That is a hanging piece, a loose piece. Is there knight d5? There's knight d5. No. a4? What about knight g6? I think I'm going to play knight g6. Maybe a4 is intriguing, because this structure is a bit adventurous. It's just asking to be undermined. a4 takes. Knight a4, bishop b4, rook moves. This might be some compensation with a4. a6 would be hanging anyway. a4. Kind of unpin my own bishop by taking on g6. Bishop b4, rook b8, nasty pin. Queen a1, on the other hand, looks a good fit for the position. Maybe bishop b4, bishop c5 after. Don't like going into self pins if I can help it. So bishop b4, rook b8, or rook f8, bishop c5. There's one use to the bishop. Does bishop c5 actually do anything? Intriguing. Doesn't, does it? I've got the two bishops, my opponent's got the two knights. It's one of those classics, isn't that? Bishops versus knights. He's got a nice c4 knight for sure. Oh, bishop c5 does do something. It threatens bishop c4, I just noticed. It interrupts black's c4 grip. That Vulcan grip. Okay. Knight d2, there's rook fd1. Oh, there's knight b3 winning the exchange. Okay, and he spotted that. How wonderful. I might as well just take on a6 then, if that's the case, and hope my a pawn gives compensation. It is assisted by the two bishops. If I get it to a7, I think that should be okay. He might want to play knight b3 instead. Queen a3, knight c1, rook c1. Okay, no, this way. Okay, I'll get my pawn to... I'm threatening immediately bishop b5 if I want to get the exchange back. The immediate thing is bishop b5. But on the other hand, I kind of like the bishop pair. Why don't I just stick my pawn... Oh, there's knight g4. Alright, g3 in advance. Oh, there's queen a5. I'll play a5 immediately, knight g4. If h3, queen h2 is mate. If I play g3 there, I'm wondering e5. G3, there's always e5 anyway. So I'll just wait for the knight to go to g4. I don't think e5 is completely killing anyway. Knight g4, g3, e5. What is it doing? So I want a6, a7. I'm going to play this just because if I slip up with a primo or something, I'll get mate on h2. So I might as well just play g3 straight off the bat just in case. Oh, no, I can't play this because he's going to take on e7. Can we get rid of this knight? Does it want to come into b3 to get another exchange? I like the pawn held by the bishop. Give some king air, I think, with g3. Weakening light squares, but because I like the bishop, I don't mind weakening light squares as much. I can control the c file for a moment, though, to avoid rook c8. So g3, king g2, rook c7. That sort of business. Order of business. g3, king g2. Get the king off the back row as well. There's also h4. Well, there's rook c8 there. King h7. I didn't expect that. Isn't there rook c8 here? Because if takes check and I win the rook. There's rook c8. Yeah, thanks for the game, Danny. Oh, Anakin, is this a 3-minute game? Okay, terminated. End of game. Takes check. I'll avoid losing the rook. He's not terminated. He's playing on. Ah, okay. Bishop b2. Oh, there's always another story to it, isn't there? Oh, crikey. Excuse my lack of commentary. My brain CPU needs 100% on a 3-minute game against this guy. To his credit. e5, d4. No. D5 to f4. He's going with the light squares. Stop queen e4. f5 knight g5 is mating me with queen h5. Oh, knight g5 is dangerous anyway. Oh, crikey. Is there bishop h6? Right, queen h5, king g7. Rook h8. Queen f7. Jeez. Get the queens off. Because I've got clock on my edge. If I can avoid getting mated, it'd be great. Oh no. Oh, nice easy walk in the park game. Okay. Okay. I need recovery, man. Alright, good game. I'm lucky to get a draw, I think, because there was a lot of threats to parry. I don't like having to try and defend that stuff in a 3-minute game. Crikey. Yeah, he had a win at the end with the bishop overloaded, by the way, but he only had like 2 seconds. You've got to put that in the practical context. It was going to be a draw, I think, anyway, because I didn't have mating material, so it's a draw. If he queens, he's going to lose on time. I don't think he's got... Yeah, whatever. Okay, so I'm trying to recover while playing this game. Deep breaths. London system, thank you. I've played it exactly this way in an over the board a few weeks ago. Has he been watching my over the board videos? I did have a London system. I've got an excuse, I'm from London. That's my excuse for playing the London system. It's a tough nut to crack. It's like a French defence on steroids, really, because the bishop's outside the pawn chain. It's a tough nut to crack. It's got to be said. Matthew Sadler, I got a story. Matthew Sadler apparently used to play the London system, but his coach tried to get him to play other things. And he did eventually play other things. And I think one of his things he said, actually, if you play other openings, you learn about different things. And so that applies if you've got narrow repertoire. You know, sometimes just other openings give you other, you know, pawn structures and stuff and other issues. It's interesting, you know, to explore. Well, there's some people that say you shouldn't really have a diverse repertoire. But actually, you know, nowadays with everyone preparing like so easily, I think having a diverse repertoire in a FIDE tournament is kind of handy because, you know, if you play all sorts of things, your opponent's not going to bother preparing against you, right? Sometimes. Okay, so CD or E5. This is exactly how I played my over the board as white recently. So I'm playing against myself. I think Queen B8 to A8. I think that was my opponent's plan. It seemed quite good to put pressure on the diagonal. I don't think Knight G5 is dangerous in this position. E6. And I was looking at tactics in my over the board game with sacking on E6. What about H6? Is that too weakening? And then Queen B8 to A8. I'll play H6. Knight H4. I want to stop this Knight G5 just in case, you know, Bishop E6, Queen E6, and yeah. Okay, Queen B8 to A8 is the plan. I don't think King H7, Bishop F7, unless I've got some cheaper there. Okay, so Queen B8 to A8. This was my opponent's plan in my over the board. I think he took on F3 and damaged my structure and closed that with D5 and C4. Will I get a chance to do that? How did he actually arrange that? Can I play King H7 here? Because he's released the pressure on F7. Could play for E5, I suppose. It's like playing against, yeah, it's very solid, nuts crack, I keep saying. Yeah, that's all I can say about the London system with black. This is one, I think, more than solid ways of playing against that. Double rooks and b4 takes knight b3 at some point, or knight d3. Yeah, maybe that's something. I don't need to commit my pawns at the moment. I think b4 knight e6, double rooks b4 c takes knight d3, takes rook c1. b4 looks kind of thematic anyway structurally. Try and damage this pawn structure over here. Doubling rooks seems the sort of thing you'd want to do anyway, to coordinate rooks. e5, e4, he's always got bishop torturing me on that diagonal. Alright, might be the time, because he's weak in f4, it might be the time for e5. I'm going to swing into f4 later, via knight e6, knight h5, knight f4. I hope. There's knight c4, knight e4, knight d6. Let's play this. The knight e6, knight h5 to f4. Try and get onto this f4 square. Knight f4, as Ben Feingold says. As queen's hanging. That worked better than expected. Oh, thanks for the game, Livy. Did we play Sebi earlier? Sorry. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. I'm just following the challenges in order. So knight c6, queen f6. So the Scotch game's all on the rage, isn't it? e5 looks a concern. Maybe knight g8. Okay, d6 here. Just to stop e5. I thought that was a concern. Maybe b5, b4 is interesting. I guess bishop b3. Oh no, b4, then knight e4. So bishop d3, that's what I mean. Bishop d3. I could provoke some weaknesses with bishop g4. If f3, that's diagonal. Just drop the bishop back, maybe to g6. Create some dark square weaknesses. They might be handy later when you provoke those kind of, pawns don't go backwards type weaknesses. Could be handy later on the dark squares. Also, I mean, e5 and f4 look like pivot squares here. I'm wondering, like, knight h5 to provoke g4 maybe. Because otherwise, queen h4, queen f2 though. Okay, king h8, f5, f4 maybe. And then queen g5, knight g3. if I unpin, it does mean f5, f4 becomes possible. Oh, there's queen g5 here, or knight g6, check. Does that matter? Might not matter. Alright, so he's got that bishop, I've got this knight. Intriguing. I should probably double rooks with rook e8, rook e7, rook e8, double rooks. Oh, there's knight f4 though, queen g3. It's only double pawns, queen g3. And I'm threatening knight h3 or king h1. So for the moment, I think doubling rooks is my favourite idea. Rook e5, maybe f4, rook e4. Unless he has bishop c2 later. But if I can double rooks, that gives me a swinging possibility. Rook g5 as well. That's what otherwise rook e7. Okay, but this swing possibility. Okay, so let's see. Knight f4, queen g3, rook g5, queen f4, rook g2. What about rook g5 first, knight f4, if g3, knight h3. So rook g5 first, king h1, knight f4. It might be worth seeing what he does. That doesn't seem right now. Because king h1, rook g2, threatening knight h3. Queen h4, rook g2. This looks a knife f4, fine gold thing. Knife f4 plan. Didn't get that much material. It's nice to get the queen sometimes, but okay, it's not totally end of the world so far for white. Although, let's see, can I blast through this center file? Maybe queen e3, queen h3. That's not really putting pressure, is it? Rook g3. Well, it's queen f1. Does he bring the rook back at least? This one. I'm wondering queen h5, then queen c5. It's trying to stop d5. Right, so no rook g5, queen f3, queen c5, or d5. Try and blast through this e file. I have rook e1. Yes, weakens some pawns here. f5, bishop c6. Let's keep that pawn, or just rook e6 for a moment. Okay, so rook g5, queen h4. All right, let's get off the... okay. I don't want to be too complacent about this. It seems queen e5 might be good for a moment. Just holding things, see what he does. Hold c7. Alright, rook d6. If rook c7 check and I win that rook. Right. Drag his rook back. Get the bishop out of here. There's queen e1 picking up the rook. So he plays check, king h6, then the bishop moves. But even so, the check, I might be picking up the bishop, because king g2, queen e2, I pick up the bishop on c2. This check seems critical for white. So check, king h6. Where does the bishop go? It goes to take on c6. I guess it can take on c6. Alright, thanks for the game, Sebi. Don Williams. I'm playing longer than scheduled, by the way, because I like to meet all the challenges. Except there seems to be a stack of challenges now, and my official thing is 1.5 hours. There seems to be a stack of challenges at the moment. So I don't know. I'll make it about 2 hours. I think that's fair, isn't it? Because I'm only scheduled for like an hour and a half, but I enjoy playing you guys. I know I get loads of abuse on the Chess24 channel for the last 7 months, but I enjoy playing you guys, and fundamentally I think you guys are actually members of Chess24 actually enjoy this show. So I'm hoping, that I love doing the show. That's why I'm often doing over 1.5 hours. I fundamentally love doing the show, basically. I want to say that for the record. On my Kingscrusher channel, the videos seem to go down very well, and it's a good addition to my own Kingscrusher channel. So it's also great content for my Kingscrusher channel. And by the way, if you haven't checked that out, I've done quite a few, master game videos recently as well. I've got this new experiment, like in a 5-minute nutshell. You might want to check out. I'm checking out what's called the best of the best at chessgames.com. There's throughout the years since like the 1800s, chessgames.com's statistics have been giving the games which are in many members' collections. I've been checking those out. Some of them fascinating. And in fact, I've stumbled on 1 or 2 of Anarchine's creative works which weren't actually played, but they're fascinating to see. What fascinates me is what he considers to be quite beautiful. It's fascinating, I think, anyway. For his made-up games. So d5, okay, there's rook d8. Yeah, my d-pawn's like in trouble here, right? Because of rook d8. So queen d2, rook d1. No, my d-pawn's in trouble. I don't like the look of that. There's e5 after. Oh, no. I don't like this. No. Do not like this position. I think there's e5. What takes then e5? I could be in trouble here, I guess. I assume I'm in trouble. If I take on a5, then knight takes b5. There's bishop f3 takes. There's also knight b3 to factor in. I don't like the look of this, I must say. Black seems to have a lot of pressure here. My king's still in the centre. It would be nice to castle sometime. There's bishop b4. As long as bishop b4 is not winning my queen. Okay, so queen g5. Queen g3, knight e5. What about bishop d3? Bishop d3, bishop b5, bishop b5. Knight c3, bishop c3, bishop c3. d4 remains weak there. Very weak. Bishop d3. Let's just focus on the king side for a moment. It does stop the entry on c2, so because the knight's blockading nicely, it's collected at h7. I'm wondering, queen h4, knight f6, d5 for bishop f6. So queen h4 as opposed to queen h5. And that's been ruled out. Go with that one then. Oh, there's knight f4 there as well. Let's try and probe some weaknesses here. What about knight e5? Okay, if I take with the bishop or the pawn, maybe the bishop runs into knight c7. If I take with the pawn, yeah, I'll avoid rook c2 as well. I'll take with the pawn. I'm wondering, okay, a bit passive. h4, h5. Something to do to try and melt down this pawn chain. h4, h5. Oh, I can win a pawn over here. I'll go on with h5 though. What about queen f4 here? Maybe knight e5 to pin down the knight to f7. Well, it's actually not. I'm trying to hold d4 for a moment. Oh, did I just lose the exchange? I think I might have just lost the exchange. Oh, I just lost the queen, great. Oh boy. I thought I was doing alright earlier, before losing the queen, for a moment. Right, 30 seconds to finish me off. Can I hold the fort for a moment with rook e1? Oh no, he's just one. I didn't see that immediately. Oh my god. What? I didn't see that immediately, that quickly. Oh my word. That's pinned. That's over. I thought I was okay for a moment. Okay, well played. Okay. Okay, end on a high. Just okay. I think it's like well played. Yeah. I was having such a good time before that today. Such a good time. Now I'm not having such a good time, am I? Okay. Actually, I gotta go after this. I think I need to go and lie down. It's too much. I think I do start to play worse in my defence. In my whatever. But no, well played. I should really go because yeah. I got to go and eat Sunday dinner and stuff. Otherwise, we'll play all day. No, but okay. So let's see. This might be the last game. So knight f6. Okay. C6, knight g4. Right, so c6, bishop e6. Bishop f5. I was having such a good time today. It's been ruined for me. You guys are not providing me with total entertainment today. Crushing you all, unfortunately. I'm sorry. Oh dear. just kidding around. Just kidding around, yeah. Oh dear. I'm going to be losing this one as well at this rate. It's not funny anymore. I'm going to be losing this one as well. Oh, how amusing this will be. Oh, crikey. Oh, how funny is this now? Takes. I'm on the bishop. Takes knight. I don't get mated on g7 just yet. So anyway, yes, check out the Gilmore Girls on Netflix. Yeah, especially if your girlfriend doesn't want to watch Breaking Bad, which is the like 9.5 on IMDb. So bishop c4, e5, queen e6. Holding c6 just in case I want to move my rook. What about rook b8, rook b2, bishop d5 as a plan on g2? So rook b8 takes, rook b2, bishop moves somewhere fictionally, bishop d5. Okay, that's not happening, is it? Okay, what about bishop d5? We'll just hold this pawn for a moment. Let's hold that pawn for a moment. I'm playing bishop d5, pointing at the king. Oh, come on. Oh, he's ruining my fun. What's happening here? My fun's being ruined again. Ah. Oh, dear. I wanted to play bishop d5. That's so unfair. Okay, can I get a rook to d2? Takes queen c4. I'm going to lose c6 now. Oh, this is getting just great. I'm going to lose c6. Okay. Let's try to get pawn back. Maybe rook c8. I'll just try and get the pawns back. Anytime I play rooks against queen d6 on my rook on f8, I play rook d2, my back row is getting a bit vulnerable. I don't like the look of this. Nick another pawn. Okay, can I play rook b8 and live to tell the tale? He was always on d6 on this rook, hounding this rook. Go away from my rooks! Go away! Ah, oh, don't then. Okay, the pawn's pinned for a moment. Pawn's pinned for a moment. Alright, can I get this one to go to d2? Ha ha. Okay, I'll sort out my back row for a moment. That pawn's pinned. a4. Keep the pawn pinned. Alright. Cat and mouse term springs to mind. I've seen annotators over the years sometimes use the term cat and mouse. This looks like cat and mouse going on. The pawn's still pinned. Now he's unpinning the pawn. He's got to have c6. I can get ready for a g2 attack with queen g4, rook d8, rook d2. This c pawn looks dangerous. I have to get my rook away from the firing line. And it's starting to look dangerous now. Oh, he wants a4 as well. Oh, that's nice. Queen b4. If rook a4, queen e1. If queen a4, I take and take on c7. Queen b4 for a moment. Okay. Queen d2. We'll take on e5. Oh, this is cat and mouse now. Okay. Queen e2 to hold the rook against rook a4. If queen a4, rook c7. This is officially cat and mouse territory. Okay, queen f2. Okay, we got some action. If I take that, I can threaten a back row mate with queen f1. Why does he want to do that? And it's a draw. Okay. I accept. Alright, okay. Thanks. Okay, I've been whatever. It's exciting games. Thank you. So hope to see you next week, and remember to like the video on the both the Kingscrusher and the Chess24 channels if you can, if you really enjoyed the session especially. Okay, so check out the Gilmore Girls and Breaking Bad and other stuff mentioned. Alright, thanks very much. See you next week. Cheers then. Thanks.